Our government, our society, our nation, our political system was set up in such a way that the Constitution holds back government power. It holds it back from being able to do whatever it wants. And the way it holds back government is it gives its citizens constitutional rights. Rights are something the government cannot take away from you. Now, our Congress, our United States Senate in the 1960s gave the federal prosecutors the go-ahead to arrest convicted felons under federal law for possessing firearms if the felon was engaging in interstate commerce, selling and buying firearms. Our U.S. legislators knew that even convicted felons needed the right to protect their life and protect their family and children and their homes. And so the legislators, the U.S. Senate, specifically wrote in every United States code that gives federal authorities the power to arrest a convicted felon for owning a firearm, they only gave the federal authorities the power to do so if the felon was in interstate commerce, selling and buying firearms to drug dealers and gang members. Merely owning a firearm was not supposed to be against the law by a convicted felon merely owning a firearm. And the United States Senate in the 1960s, the late 60s and 70s, is when these laws began to take place. They trusted the federal prosecutors. They said, here's the power to arrest convicted felons if they're engaging in selling and buying firearms in interstate commerce. Here's your go-ahead green pass. Do what you want, federal prosecutor. We trust you. We know that you would not arrest a convicted felon for merely owning a firearm for his protection and the protection of his wife and children. We know you wouldn't do that. We're going to give you the green light pass to arrest anyone in interstate commerce. And we want you to look for the felons who are engaging in serious gun dealing to drug dealers and gang members. Now, federal prosecutors use their federal power. They use this code, USCA, Title 18, Chapter 44. The federal prosecutors, and I will emphasize only a small minority of federal prosecutors do this. They use this Commerce Clause. They use the power that they were given by the U.S. Congress to go after felons engaging in dealing underground to gang members and drug dealers in interstate commerce. They use that code and they take it upon themselves personally to go out here and destroy a man's life. A man who has had a felony conviction years ago, has a wife and kids in a home, and owns a firearm in his home for self-defense, this federal prosecutor will reach down, destroy this man's life, destroy his job, he loses his home, and most men who go to prison lose their wives and children because this prosecutor is taking the power that he was given and he is unconstitutionally overextending it and taking it on himself like his personal vendetta to go after ex-felons who are now living honest lives for merely owning a firearm for self-defense and the defense of his children and wife and property. And this is an injustice that many United States circuit judges have ruled and said, no, Mr. Federal prosecutor, you don't have a right to do that. retry this man, because interstate commerce was it you were to arrest a convicted felon in interstate commerce, not simply merely owning a firearm. Now, what I am asking and begging you to do as an American citizen is to call your state representative, call your state senator, ask him to pass a constitutional amendment to their state constitutions that the state law overrides federal law, and that the federal government may not arrest a convicted felon in their state for merely owning a firearm under state law. And ask your state representative and your state senator to contact his federal U.S. senator and federal U.S. representative. Explain this issue to them. Ask your state senator to forward this video to his U.S. representative and U.S. senator, and to ask them to specify in the United States Code that federal prosecutors cannot arrest an ex-felon for merely owning a firearm under federal law if he is not engaging in buying and selling on a large scale. It's going to have to take you getting a hold of your state representative and him stepping up and getting a hold of the U.S. federal representatives, and we have to stop this, because good men who are ex-felons, who are living honest lives by the tens of thousands, their lives are destroyed by these overzealous federal prosecutors who are violating the very code that they are arresting these ex-felons on. So just do a little action yourself. That's all I'm asking you to do.